Hey y'all, so your boy is back after a few weeks off. You know, I decided to enjoy the summer with the wife, hit up the beach. I'm still rocking a little bit of a tan. I got a little bit going on. So D Roth, while I was gone, what did I miss out on? Oh yeah, that. So about a month ago, we witnessed legit hip-hop history. Not that old fake made-up Twitter hip-hop history. Legit history in the making as Kendrick Lamar and Drake over the course of a weekend redefined what a hip-hop beef looks like with some of the most scorching diss tracks ever. Player, it was a straight-up crime scene. And even though some people tried to jump in and get involved for a little bit of shine of their own... Sit down, Officer Ricky. Besides that, it was a crazy thing to experience in real time. We're seeing these diss tracks, different types of diss tracks, just flying back and forth. The discourse is incredible. Of course, it's Twitter, so they had to ruin it by being lame. But overall, it was absolutely a moment for hip-hop. And I know that we're a month late. Everybody's dropped their little think pieces going on about what happened in the best tracks and where this ranks in history. But you know I'm not gonna step out of the ring. You came here to hear what your boy had to say. And that's what we're gonna talk about today. The 10 best hip-hop diss tracks in history, where these new tracks rank, and also 5 tracks that are utter garbage and never deserve to be mentioned again. It's up here. We'll talk about it one time, then never again. Welcome back, players, for another edition of the Soul and Stereo Sessions here on YouTube with your boy. Thank you for coming through. And like you just heard, yes, we're talking about the 10 best diss tracks in hip-hop history and 5 of the less of the best. We'll get to those in a second. But before we do that, I have to answer a question that I've seen a lot going on social media over the past month or so. What makes a good diss track? Well, let me tell you what doesn't make a good diss track. I know. We can say Kendrick's wife is following some other guy on Instagram. That must mean that's the real baby's daddy. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. Oh yeah. That thing about Drake having a daughter, a fake daughter, and being the Canadian R. Kelly. Well, we can say we leaked it. Yeah. We leaked it. You fell for it. Ha ha ha. Yeah, we leaked it. Yeah, that's not true. We leaked it. Yeah. Let's see. There was that song where Kendrick said he was abused as a child. We can make fun of that. Child abuse is funny. Ha. Oh wait, I just saw the lyrics. It actually said he was not abused as a child. Oh well, Kendrick still sucks. This is gonna be the best diss track ever. Yeah, don't do that. We're not showing no love for that. A good diss track is not a bunch of corny lines or a bunch of random sayings, just aimless nonsense. That's just children throwing insults at each other in 3rd grade. Like any good song, artistry must be involved. And that's why when we talk about this list, some of the best lyricists of all time have the best diss tracks of all time, because you have to be a lyrical master to have a great diss track. You cannot come up in here with some halfway stuff, because it's not going to work. And let me say this as well, because I've seen a lot of discourse about how diss tracks are the heart of hip hop. That's actually very inaccurate, because you're conflating diss tracks with competition. Competition It's the heart of hip hop. Going all the way back to the days of the DJs when you would have rival MCs and rival DJs battling each other out, trying to see who had the best DJ, who has the best cuts, who has the best clothes, who has the prettiest girls, who has the best bars. That is what hip hop is. The spirit of competition is what's missing in hip hop because nobody cares and everybody's just riding off of their stan affiliations. That's why I think this battle was so captivating, because we really had people seeing where, okay, can this man top what this man just said? That is competition, not beef. Beef was never a staple of hip hop, and I have some issues with the beef. But if that got us the competition and the energy that we have seen here, I ain't mad at it. I want good bars. I want good competition. I want people proving that they're the best without going to Wikipedia and pull up a bunch of dumb numbers that matter not. I don't care how many streams you got. I want to know how good you are in the ring. And that is what a good diss track does. It shows how good you are. The negativity, I'm not always there for that. But it does show who is really a master of this lyrical craft. And we're going to give you 10 tracks right now that shows who knows their bars, and pray for the victims. It was rough. Coming in at number 10 is Sheether. Woo, I even like the name, Sheether. Remy Ma's Decimation of the Pink Lady. This ain't new. Nicki beefing with female rappers sure ain't new. But this is the first time we saw that wig get snatched. Oh my goodness. All of the things that Nicki is criticized for now was said way back when Remy was fed up and went nuts. I can't even talk about some of the insults here because they're going to throw me off of YouTube, the stuff that she laid out. Go listen to the track. You're going to hear it. It was a decimation. In my opinion, it's the greatest diss track from a female MC. Yes, I know somebody's going to talk about Roxanne Shante or Light and blah. Like, those are great, but they aren't Sheether. This one changed the game. If you have enough gall to name your track after a track as infamous as Ether, which we'll get to later on, you know you got something. And she lived up to it. This one doesn't get talked about as much, but man, it wasn't looking pretty for Nicki. Coming in at number 9 is Wraith by an MC you might not know, Mickey Fax. So, one of the most underrated beefs, I don't even know if beef is the right word, but it was definitely a sparring competition of 2021 was Royce da 5'9" against Lupe Fiasco. Y'all missed it because, again, it wasn't so much about beef, but it was these lyrical titans just going at each other. There was some tension there for sure, but it was more about proving themselves other than airing dirty laundry, which is the kind of competition I usually like. Well, Mickey jumped in. He's a Bronx MC, a BX MC, and he came in, man, and he just decimated Royce. And as you know, Royce is a great performer in all rights and writer himself. But the thing that made this track so impressive is that during this sparring session, I even hesitate to call it beef, Royce attacked MCs like RJ Payne, and he went at Ransom. So what Mickey did was he took their flows and used their flows mixing into his song to attack Royce. So he was spitting like 3 different flows. It was like, remember the Mega Man game when you would get the power up and you would get Woodman's thing and Cutman's thing? It was like this. He was adapting those personas and wiping that man out. Like Morph on X-Men 97. He's like, I'm going to turn into Morph Hulk on y'all. It was incredible. Another very underrated track that's often forgotten because that battle just kind of came and went. Look it up if you want to see lyrical excellence in the works. Alright, coming in at number 8, we got a recent one. It's Kendrick Lamar's Euphoria. So, there was the thing that this Drake versus Kendrick squabble that makes me laugh is that there is a strong contingent of fans who thought that Kendrick fell off. I don't understand, and still don't understand. Well, I guess I understand. Here's what I'm saying. Kendrick Lamar dropped Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers a couple years ago. And it was highly anticipated because we hadn't had a Kendrick album in so long. So I think people were looking for bangers and this and that. And what we got was a very, very heavy introspective look at mental health and identity. And I think it just went over the heads of his fans. So people are like, oh, Kendrick fell off. It's too sleepy, blah, blah, blah. So for some reason, people forgot that he is an absolute monster, without question, the best artist of his generation. And in my opinion, a top 5 artist of all time. He's that good, even before this. Euphoria reminded y'all who this dude is. Similar to the Rafe song that we just talked about, Euphoria was dope because it was like 5 or 6 different beats, and Kendrick was just switching up his flow, switching up his flow, switching up his flow. So those who thought he was this sleepy man who was just making, oh, he's just backpack dude making this conscious music. Oh no. He was going ballistic, and he was using different aspects of his repertoire to attack him. Now we saw that later on when he flipped concepts in later songs. But here you really saw how he is a master of not just writing, but delivery. In my opinion, I feel like this is the best of that diss track series that he did. But there's a reason why I have others above it. We'll get to that soon enough. Coming in at number 7, one of the most famous disses of all time, Boogie Down Productions, The Bridge Is Over. So BDP had a long running feud in the 80s with the Juice Crew and MC Shan and all these folks. They just decided they are just going to annihilate everybody from Queens. And that's what this was. Growing up, this to me was kind of one of the benchmarks of kind of battle raps, because that was one of the most high prominent ones of that era. There were some others as well, but like this is the one that always sticks in my mind. It's like the epitome, the bar, the one that we look for. And for a while, this was the best one. But as everything goes on, hip hop evolves and we get a lot more that goes along. But man, BDP went absolute crazy, like DDP with the diamond cutter on these guys. An absolute masterclass of just dissecting your opponents. And again, it has gone on to become, at the time, kind of setting the bar for this type of emceeing. And over time, because time passes and MCs retire and narratives change, it's kind of fallen down on the list a little bit. But it deserves recognition here just for the precedent it set. Coming in at number 6 is Jay-Z, The Takeover, The Break's Over. And man, I didn't remember exactly where I was when I heard this. So I copped the Blueprint album from Best Buy I think it dropped September 11, but you know, it was September 11th. So I did not pick it up September 11. I picked it up a few days later. September 11, 2001, we were all kind of distracted. So besides that, I picked up the album later in the week. I'm pretty sure it was a Thursday. And I'm going home. I think I picked it up from either Best Buy or Target. I always got them on release day because they were cheaper. They were $9.99. So I'm listening, and I knew about the Jay-Z and Prodigy beef. But when he mentioned Nas, I was like, did he just mention Nas? So that's the thing about Takeover. Takeover is often linked to this day to Nas and kicking off that big rivalry between these two. But this is really a tale of two tracks. The first half is poor Prodigy, rest in peace, Love P. But he got his head knocked off on that one. And then the second half, of course, was the attack against Nas. In hindsight, it was very, how can I put this? It was absolutely a blow, but because of the blows that were yet to come, it almost doesn't seem as strong and as nasty as things would get later. At the time, Jay was just saying what a lot of fans, including me, was saying. Because remember, at this point, I'm a big Jay-Z fan. I'm more of a Jay-Z fan than Nas, but I'm also unbiased, so it doesn't matter whose fan I am. If somebody drops a hot song, they dropped a hot song. And him being critical of Nas's output and later albums, a lot of fans are like, he right. I didn't quite think he was that harsh, but he had some good points there. To me, a good diss always brings good facts into it, and he really brought some of the holes that Nas was seeing in his game to light, and it hurt Nas's credibility until he bounced back, and we'll get to that later on. But yes, Takeover continues to stand as one of the benchmarks for battle raps, hip-hop tracks, disses, hard to beat it, and Takeover has cemented Blueprint as an album as one of the best of all time as well. So, victory for Jay-Z. Short-lived, but a victory. Alright, coming in at number 5, Ice Cube and No Vaseline. Ooh, Lord. If you want to hear a track that not only talks about how you are mad at the people you used to be cool with, plus how much you despise the music industry, this is the track for you. I want somebody to give us a No Vaseline for 2024 and talk about how shady some of these executives are, how people's careers have been messed up. That's what I want to hear. I don't want to hear about some drama about somebody's wife sleeping with some other random person on Instagram. That's like, keep that in the DMs. I want to hear the tea about what's going on with these labels and these executives and what's going on behind the scenes. That's more interesting to me than a bunch of rumors that you heard that sound like some stuff off of a Housewives reality show. But beyond that, this is another one of those diss tracks, in my opinion, that does not get a lot of attention today, just because the way time has moved, and because poor Ice Cube, unfortunately, he's either passed as a happy dad in a movie, or saying some questionable political things on Twitter. I seen you, homie. I ain't rocking with it. Still my guy, but clean that up. Between those two things, I think the impact of this song has been lost because Ice Cube, Furious Ice Cube, is a dangerous, scary man. And this was the scariest song of them all. He destroyed NWA, which at the time was the most intimidating hip-hop group of all. He got Jerry Hell out of here. Man, it was a sight to see. History was made, and we don't talk about this one enough. Coming in at number 4, oh yes, we're back to Kendrick Lamar and Not Like Us. And let me put a caveat on this one, because I know some of y'all say this is some recency bias. And you know what? I would agree. It probably is some recency bias. And the reason why is because as of this recording, this song is everywhere. I think it was a year or two ago, I did a video talking about the songs of the summer and how we don't really have songs of the summer anymore. And it makes me sad because everything just comes and goes. Nothing lasts. Nothing stays for a long time without being artificially thrown in our face like some TikTok hit. But this is an absolute legit hit. And it's hard to categorize it right now because it's everywhere. Some people would say it deserves to be number 1. And in terms of visibility, you might be right. I can't think of another song, besides one more on this list, that has the visibility as a diss track than this song. I've seen little kids dancing this on Twitter. I do feel a type of way about kids dancing to a song that's accusing a man of doing stuff with kids. But that's where we are in 2024. The reason why this song thrives, though, even with some of this elevated hype that it has, is that it knocks everything that everyone criticized Kendrick about, including Drake, in his face. It knocks back this ideal that he does not know how to make a hit. Because this is a hit. And with every song that we heard from Euphoria, which was just kind of the bar fest, to 616, which kind of was along the same lines, except a little bit more sinister and focused. And of course, Meet the Grams. And I know many of you will say, why isn't Meet the Grams here? I think Meet the Grams is an incredible, incredible concept track. I just don't know if I'd put it in top 10 of all time. It's, again, you got to pull away some from the recency bias from a lot of these songs, but it kind of loses some points to me, especially when we find out a lot of this stuff he's just saying just to be saying. I'm like, I'm not a big fan of that. I know it's a battle and you exaggerate stuff, but whatever. I'm not that hype off of that. But it is a great song, and it shows the diversity of who Kendrick is. And Drake, after this song, he just gave up. He gave up. And we'll get to that later on. But the point is, Not Like Us absolutely changed hip-hop for 2024. A legit hit. It's everywhere in ways I have not seen. It gave us BBL Drizzy, which is the first instrumental hip-hop diss I think I've ever heard. I don't want to say it for sure that this is the first, but I can't think of another one. Oh my gosh. It has just spawned so much stuff. Poor Drake. But I shed no tears with that guy. I've been telling y'all to get him out of here since 2013. Bye. Now, before we hit the top 3, I promised y'all I wanted to look at 5 of the worst hip-hop diss tracks that I've ever seen. And I'm gonna rapid fire these because I won't be able to stomach talking about these long enough. They are so terrible. So let's get started first with Nicki Minaj. I'm just lumping all these together. Bigfoot, Stupid Hoe, all of them. Just throw them all in the same thing. And the problem with these is that they're so juvenile. Remember what I said, what makes a good diss track. It's more than just random childish insults. There has to be writing to it. The reason why people love the Kendrick ones is because there's a story, there's a narrative, there's something about it. There's not just, I'm just throwing dumb insults that I use in 3rd grade class. And that's what all of these songs are. Nicki is like Drake and is like Wayne at his worst. When they want to rap, they're good. But 90% of the time, they're phoning it in, and this shows. A horrible, horrible embarrassment. I don't ever hear either one of those again. Speaking of embarrassments, let's get to Mr. Aubrey with The Heart Part 6. This was the final track of the series that we saw about a month ago. And what a disappointment. He literally went on Twitter, found all the Kendrick conspiracy theories he could find, and just read them. And then at the end, literally sighs. You can hear him sigh on the track. He sighs. And it's like, I don't want to play no more. I'm going in the house. That's exactly what this. Dude, you started this. You were the one who said, you're taking too long. Where are you? Where are the tracks? Blah, 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 blah. And then he got absolutely beheaded. You might as well call this song Wave the White Flag. I've never seen a more defeated man. Oh, it's horrible. Horrible. An embarrassment. When we were listening to when I was catching up on these after the vacation, and I was playing them all in a row for my wife, and she actually was rocking with almost all of them. She was like, this one's good, this one's good. She heard this one and was like, why? He didn't even try anymore. Cause he didn't. He didn't try. Sorry. An embarrassment. Next up on the list, Soulja Boy, hit on with the Draco. Now, y'all probably don't even remember this one, but Soulja had a song going at Chris Brown and 50 Cent. And one more time, like I said, what is the one thing that makes a good diss song? Actual lyricism. Soulja Boy may be an innovative in the world of meme rap and internet fame. I'll give him that. That's all I'm going to give him. But the one thing that man is not is an MC. So he has no way that he could make a decent diss record doing his usual shtick. This was a mess. 2 more and then I gotta go. I gotta get to the good stuff. So Nick Cannon, The Invitation. The Nick Cannon Eminem beef was so dumb. For those who don't remember, there was this time, maybe around 2009, 2010, where Eminem and Mariah Carey had this odd thing going on where M said they were dating and Mariah said they weren't. Again, high school stuff. Give me a break. Like a decade later, Nick Cannon, who isn't even married to Mariah anymore, jumps in to defend the honor of his baby mama and has a track that's basically daring Eminem to fight. Why? Dude, You make movies and you host little game shows. Go back to that. You don't want to spar with Eminem. That's a bad idea. And luckily for him, M just ignored him. I kind of wish he didn't. Because you see what happened when Machine Gun Kelly and Benzino and those guys start poking Ja Rule when they poked that bear. So I think even M was like, oh, whatever. It was an embarrassment of a song. I don't blame him for not responding. But speaking of Eminem, can I even say this? I'm going to say this. Insane Clown Posse's Slim Anus. Hopefully I don't get thrown off of the net for this. But I see what y'all put on your timelines is worse than that. So you know the song Hi My Name Is. Well, ICP decided they're going to attack Eminem by saying Hi My Name Is instead of Slim Shady, Slim Anus. What? What? Why did you make this a whole song? I never got the ICP thing at all anyway. I know they have the Juggalos will tear up this comment section. Good for them. I never got it. But Slim Anus? What? And for those who don't know, Eminem fired back and in 2 bars annihilated them. I can't even say what he said, but it's like when you have a song titled that, you're setting yourself up for a pretty big clapback. And they got clapped. I think the lesson here is leave Eminem alone because he's another one y'all sleep on until he turns into a dragon. Leave these guys alone. 5 diss tracks you should avoid with your life. They're garbage. Back to the good stuff. Alright, top 3 time, and we're here with Tupac and the Outlaws. Hit 'em up. Now look. You cannot say that I am not an unbiased reviewer of music because if you look over my shoulder, who's right there, why would I put a song that decimates my man as number 3? Because it just does. This may be my favorite Tupac song, even though he's tearing up my guy. That first verse, as we all know, has gone down in history. And the only reason this song is not number 1 is because people forget that there are other verses after this, and they're all pretty whack. No offense to the Outlaws. Their contributions were not good. If their part was just a song itself, it might have gone in that top 5 worst disses because they're just throwing out dumb insults. Tupac, though, oh boy, he was the one with fire in his belly and he went crazy. This is another standard for hip-hop disses. Hit 'em up. It's kind of like a sign for somebody's about to go hit 'em up and tear up somebody on the beat. There's a reason why. R.I.P. Big, you're my guy. R.I.P. Pac. But boy, that was a battle to be seen. Number 2, you know we would get here. The reason why, in my opinion, poor Drake will never be taken seriously again because of the greatest reveal in battle rap history. 5 words that changed it all. You are hiding a child. And he didn't lie. Pusha T bullied Drake into being a better father. What is going on? What is happening? But that's exactly what happened. So after a couple of months of going back and forth, Drake got too big for his britches. And after a few, he beat up some tomato cans like Meek Mill and Kid Cudi. And for whatever reason, Drake has convinced himself that he is like some elite battle rapper. And he can take out anybody. He clearly didn't learn his lesson after this past month. But besides the fact, he decides he's going to go at Pusha T. Pusha T. I'm biased, you may say, although I am unbiased. But I always rep for my hometown heroes in VA. Pusha T is a street dude from VA. You don't want it with him. He's a real lyricist. You don't want it with him. He's the type of guy that has a notebook just full of dirt on everybody. And he was just waiting. And he waited for that man to stroll into the trap. And we got story of Adidon, and things were never the same. Word to the last good Drake album. Good gosh. Not only did we have this legendary reveal, Pusha just went scorched earth on Aubrey. He did not respond. I've heard he had a response, but they told him not to and blah. I don't buy it. I thought that what happened was he got ate up and his advisors told him to sit down. He was over his head. It was a wrap. And in my opinion, it was a wrap. Oh, never seen a decimation like that for this generation until what we just saw with those Kendrick tracks. This was eye-opening for a lot of hip-hop fans who thought those little weak tracks that Drake was putting out was elite battle raps. Oh no, arms too short to box with those VA gods, homie. Drake learned today. Actually, he didn't learn. And he got wiped out again. Man, what can I tell you? And then finally, we're here at number 1 with Nas and Ether. The reason why this track has gone on to be so legendary, actually there are a couple of reasons why, and I'll tell you first. Number 1 is because you have to look at where Nas was at his place in history. It actually kind of mimics Kendrick a little bit in that people had underestimated him. This MC Jay-Z came out and just put all his dirty laundry out there, went crazy, undermined his career, undermined his importance, basically called him a one-hit wonder for lack of better words. He was like, he's lost his potential, he's washed up, and Nas had to remind the world why he is one of the greatest of all time, and he did it. I know a lot of people get stuck on some of the insults here. I'm not gonna say he did this and he did this, but if you listen to some of the Jay-Z stuff, he used the same tired, bad insults. So I don't care about that. I'm here for the actual bars and decimation, the good points he brought up, like Jay-Z's compulsion to just steal bars from everybody else. I love Jay, but it was the truth. And I'll be honest, at the time, I was a bigger Jay-Z fan than Nas, but I have to admit that Nas murdered him. Because at the end of the day, no matter what my fandom is, I have to side with who had the better verse. Not make excuses for my favorites, Twitter, but I had to say he was better. Second reason why this one hit so hard is because there is a reason of all the tracks on this list, Ether has become a term that means to destroy your opponent. And it all goes back to this. Ether and Stan, Eminem Stan, are two of the most enduring terms in hip-hop, and they come from songs. So when you look at that, how they permeated pop culture, you have to give it props. Maybe in a couple of years, we could be saying the same thing about Not Like Us. The way it's going, it wouldn't surprise me. But as of today, as of right now, I still say that Nas's Ether is the greatest hip-hop diss song of all time. I don't hear anybody saying they got Bigfooted. They got ethered. That's Jay. Alright players, that's it. 10 dope hip-hop diss records. Dopest of all time in my opinion. And 5 not so dope that you need to leave alone. They need to be buried forever. So, what do you think? Which songs should I leave off? Which songs should I rearrange? I'm sure there's some Meet the Grounds folks that wanted that in the top 10. I can't blame you. Maybe I'll revisit this in a few years and might add them, but who knows. Just don't write a diss track about me yet. This edition of the Soul and Stereo Sessions is a wrap, and hopefully when I go out of town next time, y'all behave, please. Teacher leaves and y'all just have a food fight in the cafeteria. But it was an entertaining fight. I loved it. Play on, players.